yourself what makes a country strong.
Good question.
How we've traveled so far on a road that was so long.
Here's the answer.
Oh, it's happened lots of everything we need. It's happened milk and vegetables and corn for the feed. It's happened cattle for the meat we eat.
But it takes more than that to make
It's the finest of machinery and the power to work the land. Finest kind of man to do the job at hand. It's the freedom to sow. It's the freedom to travel where a man may want to go. That's what it's...
an active partner in America's biggest business, farming. His success is based on a simple formula. Power means production. More power means more production. He takes his power for granted. It's always there when he needs it. Hard to imagine doing without it. It wasn't always there. Man struggled to make the land and nature work for him.
Oh, we don't know for sure how the struggle began, but life was mighty hard for the prehistoric man. He had to feed himself and his family somewhere. Oh, none of us would be around enjoying life today.
This was one way of getting food. However, it had its drawbacks. The food supply wouldn't always cooperate. It was often a long time between meals. He had to find a way to get food when he wanted it. What he needed was more strength, added power, a weapon. But even in those days, there were scoffers, people with 1,000 ways of saying no.
Why wear your arm out with that thing? It'll never work. There's only one way to get meat.
But man was not to be discouraged. Armed with a weapon, he became a hunter. As time passed, man improved his weapons. He became a skillful hunter. Too skillful. Animals became scarce. To stay alive, man had to migrate from place to place, always on the move. Not the sort of life a man would choose, but if he was to go on eating, he had to keep following the food supply. Maybe he did have a choice after all. Yes, he saw the chance to have a permanent home. Not the scoffer. He wasn't falling for any harebrained ideas. He'd go on wandering the rest of his life. But man and his family clung together bravely. Somehow they managed to survive. When spring came, their courage was rewarded. Man went to work building up his reward and made an interesting observation, which eventually led him to discover how plants grow. Seeds buried in the ground, water, and sun, germination, and growth. Little by little, man learned how to work the land. Later, he developed the first crude plow. Now he was his own master, no longer just living, but making a living. Man had become a farmer.
He passed the biggest barriers of that early day with many a road to hoe as yet, but he was on his way. He had freedom to sow, to expand and to grow, and the man on the land knew where he was going to go.
With a dependable food supply, population increased. Families began living together in communities. These were the beginnings of civilization. Some men developed other skills. Trading began. The best farmer got the best of the trade, which encouraged him to produce more and better crops. But there was a limit to what he could produce with the available power. This led to another great discovery.
It'll never work. We've gone as far as we can go.
Man disagreed. In the centuries that followed, his inventiveness carried him much farther and much faster. He traded with other communities, with other nations. Wherever man brought abundance from the land and was free to trade, civilization advanced. Early civilizations arose and were succeeded by others. One of the greatest was the Roman Empire. When Rome fell, Europe entered the Dark Ages. Law and order gave way to force of arms. To survive, farmers had to buy protection from local warlords. The price was their freedom. The farmer was now a serf, lowest caste in the social order, no longer working for himself, held in bondage by the noble on the hill.
A man without freedom is a man bound fast. A man who is bound to the drudgery of the past. He don't dare speak up or call his soul his own. And the burden in his heart is like a load of stone.
For centuries, there was almost no change in the farmer's way of life. And yet, man kept alive the dream of freedom. Finally, word came of a new world where a man could be his own master. Many traveled the long road to freedom. It meant going back for a time to a primitive, dangerous life. But here they were free to speak, think, and worship as they wished. Here man had a chance to grow and get ahead, an opportunity that shaped the future of the American farmer. When his freedom was threatened, he refused to knuckle under.
He liked his independence and he wanted to be free, but they told him to be loyal to a land across the sea. So he wrote a declaration, then defied them all. He oiled his gun and waited for the trumpet to call. That's what it takes to make a country strong. A man on the land who knows the right from the wrong.
There were scoffers in America, too.
Hey, why do you want independence? Why don't you just do what they tell you?
The man that conquered chose independence. He fought and won. It was his land and worth fighting for. A land with a promise. For many a farmer, the promise led him off over the horizon. He kept pushing the boundaries westward as population increased. More people meant more mouths to feed, more land to feed them. The farmer needed more power, horsepower, horse-drawn machinery. Still, it wasn't enough. He doubled, tripled, quadrupled the horsepower, until feeding his work animals took a large part of his land, labor, and time. His whole life was a race against time. At the end of the day, his energy was totally used up. He had to find another source of power. As always, the scoffer was on hand.
Whoever heard of plowing that way? Don't you know when you're licked?
Still, the farmer kept trying. So did others. The patent office was bombarded with schemes and devices.
World's full of lunatics. You take those fellas over in Pennsylvania, punching a hole in the ground to get oil. Well, what good is it? You can burn it in a lamp, but that's all. They think that thing will run on oil? Probably tell you next they'll put wheels on it and make it go. Suppose they think it'll pull a plow. It'll never work. The whole idea will blow up sky high.
Wrong again. Here, blowing sky high was power to revolutionize man's way of life. For the farmer, power to run the tractor, outperforming any number of work animals. And no crops required to feed it. A nationwide race began to meet the demand for oil.
North, south, east, west, they searched the country round. Wherever liquid power was hidden underground. Power enough for every need, power enough to last, power enough to build a future brighter than the past.
Hundreds of companies were formed, little and big, all competing for a share of the business. Machine manufacturers were also in competition to build cheaper, more efficient tractors and other kinds of farm machinery. Petroleum-powered vehicles of all sorts. Trucks to haul farm products to market on roads converted from dust to asphalt by petroleum. As farms became more mechanized, more and more farm products flowed to market. Farmers cultivated many times more land, raised many times more crops per man acre than ever before. And over the years, everyone has shared in the benefits.
For progress is the stepping stone to a better life, and everyone can share it with the farmer and his wife. There's time to relax, to get around, and once more, time to do a better job than ever before.
Yes, time to keep up with the latest information from the county agent and land grant colleges. The wide-awake farmer keeps improving his crops and stock. For there's keen rivalry among farmers. Each year they supply the public with better products, and they demand the same from the industries that supply them. More and better insecticides, weed killers, fertilizers, better lubricants to protect machinery against the wear and tear of friction, and continually better fuels. The demand for oil products keeps increasing. There are always scoffers.
You're heading for trouble. Pretty soon there won't be any oil left.
Wrong again. New techniques are even bringing old wells back to life. New fields are being opened up all over the world. New drilling methods to tap oil pools miles underground. Better refining. New techniques to conserve every drop of oil. As it has in the past, America's oil industry, made up of thousands of will continue to supply the power we need. Power for the farmer to accomplish a job that's now worldwide in scope. For today, American food reaches half to his length with us. The farmer has come a long way in his struggle to make the land and nature work for him. But tomorrow promises even greater abundance. Abundance created by the free American man on the land in partnership with American industry and its power. Together, they will work to ensure our strength and preserve our climate of freedom.
You cultivate your freedom like you cultivate your land. You guard against its enemies on each and every hand. You keep yourself awake and you're ready to fight, to sacrifice the things you have for what you know is right. That's what it takes to make a country strong. A man on the land who knows the right from the wrong.